Hello and welcome to the Smart Chiropractor Show. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host Dr. Jason Deitch, and you are tuning in to an incredibly special show because it is the release of the Payday Practice, how to meet your monthly expenses in 1 day guaranteed with monthly recurring revenue. That is what we're going to talk about all episode long. And we're also going to encourage you, I'm going to bring it up right now, head over to thepaydaypractice.com. Right now we have a digital version available for free. You can go to smartchiropractor.com/thepaydaypractice or just head right over to thepaydaypractice.com as you see on your screen, and you can pick up your own copy. This has been something Jason and I have been working on for a very long time. We are super excited to get it out to all chiropractors. We're going to spend some time diving into monthly recurring revenue, financial freedom, what does having a payday practice look like, and how you can implement this in your practice, all on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. So be sure to go over, download the book, let us know what you think. Jason, this is a special show, something we have been looking forward to and working towards for quite a while.
We are at the starting line. You know, anytime you do any kind of ultra marathon or Ironman or any kind of race, a lot of the work is in the preparation to get there to the starting line, not even finishing, but getting to the starting line. That's where we are. I am deeply excited. I mean, not only goosebumps, but chills and all that goes along with the emotions of pouring your heart into a project that, for me, checks all the boxes. I've been talking with my family and you and close people I know and so on, as this has been really a work in progress for, I want to say, 4 to 5 years now. And the pandemic and all that's gone along with it. And it's been, something that has been rising to the surface over time as a result of, our decades in practice. This was not just a, hey, let's write a book. I've written a book before. It is torture. Many compare it to giving birth. Never done it. I don't know, but it is a very, very difficult, torturous process that only people who really have something to say would subject themselves to more than once. And we do have something to say, and that's why we have followed through, stayed with it. We've taken it, put a lot of time, let it rest for a little while and simmer. We've gotten a lot of good feedback, and it really is to the point that we're finally ready to share it. The timing is right for us. The timing is really right for all of you. We believe that as you'll take a little bit of time, hopefully invest your time into really reading how you can achieve the financial freedom and therefore life freedom that you've always wanted, and quite honestly, that you deserve. If you've chosen to be a chiropractor or were chosen to be a chiropractor, if you went through chiropractic school and took on the debt or paid the money that it takes, let alone the years of sacrifice and dedication and time, and you are in practice, whether it's for a short period of time, medium period of time, long period of time, you deserve to have the freedom you want to be able to practice the way you want to be able to communicate the way you want to be able to work with the people you want to, and to be able to say no, to not work with the payers that you don't want to not work with the patients or people you don't want to, for whatever your reasons are. You're the doctor, as Fred Barge used to say, and this is really a revolutionary approach. This is something you have heard nowhere else before, that will, if you pause, take a few moments, have an open mind, invest in learning and growing your mind and mindset, will truly revolutionize the way you look at your practice. And specifically, it is not how you look at your practice clinically as much as it is how you look at the way you may have compromised yourself, compromised your policies, compromised your procedures, your technique, your messaging, because you have, I guess the way I say it, and when I was in practice, the same thing actually happened to me, that you go into it with a dream of wanting to serve people, of wanting to express your art, of wanting to be unique and different than everybody else and share what has inspired me or you to become a chiropractor. And within a short period of time, you find the financial reality of recognizing that people may not necessarily understand and resonate the same way. And at some point, you got to give them what they want, not just what you want to share with them. And oftentimes we compromise our principles because we need to earn a living. We need to pay the bills. We need to pay our debts. We need to pay our payroll and our rent and our mortgage and all that goes along with it. And this is a book. This is a webinar. This is a training. This is a process that can help you reduce, in time, eliminate the business financial stress that you have accumulated over time and really eliminate it forever and get in front of the wave as opposed to always feeling like you're playing catch up. And once you get that wave and you get in front of it, now you got momentum working in your favor. That is the way we believe all chiropractors should be practicing. But as we say in the book, if you're frustrated, if you're struggling, it's not your fault, it's your business model. So Jeff, let me kick it back to you and let's dig down deep, because this is the opportunity for people to really learn why they should read the book, and hopefully they will and get everything we're talking about out of that experience.
For sure. And you set it up just perfectly there with the fact that this is a business. This is a business conversation, but it applies to how you take care of your patients. And this applies to nearly every single chiropractor out there. If you are on the verge of retirement, you don't have to listen. You can download the book and enjoy it. But if you are somebody who is younger in your career, you are in the prime of your career, you're looking to build something that can continue to grow, have stability, less vulnerability, monthly recurring revenue is where it's at. Jason, you and I looked at companies, Athletic Greens, Amazon, Netflix, Hims, Hers, Ritual. So many of these companies that are ubiquitous in and out of the healthcare space. We could dive into great detail. We have some awesome case studies about some of these companies. Also, if you check it out, thepaydaypractice.com. We'll say that quite a few times during this show. Make sure you go over and download it. But we looked at these companies that had monthly recurring revenue. So they weren't transactional, fee for service, right? Most of us as chiropractors are fee for service. And unfortunately, 99% of us are 99.9% fee for service, so transactional. And here's the thing, we've spoken with upper management at companies like The Joint. We've spoken with clinical masters, Brett Winchester, Taylor Premer, amongst others. So varying types of providers, varying types of philosophical, how they approach their practice. And every time we bring up this conversation, the heads start nodding. It's like, man, when you have your best month ever, the first, you start back at zero. You have your worst month ever, the next first of the next month, you start back at zero. And it's just a tough way to live. And the truth of the matter is, you don't have to live that way. There are so many other examples of companies that have built, whether you want to call it a membership, a subscription, a continuity program, automated revenue coming in each and every month that enables you. Our goal for everybody that downloads, reads, and takes action on the book is to meet, cover, exceed their monthly expenses. Because when you can do that, it just provides you so much more relief, decreased stress, increased revenue, more diversity of income, and it's just so much more stable when you have a recurring base of revenue and now you're making profit rather than playing catch up every month. And Jason, one of the things I've been thinking about lately, and I highlighted earlier this morning as I was recording some audio around this topic, was so many chiropractors out there. It's like maybe the first week of the month when they're doing really well is covering their expenses, then it's profit. For most chiropractors earlier on in their career, it's like the 27th day of the month. And it's like, we finally cover our expenses. Now the last 3 days are the profit. And it just doesn't need to be the case. We're going to explore, certainly in the book, we go into supreme detail. Today's show will also explore some of the ways chiropractors can start to think about this and action it. But it starts with some of these topics around mindset and understanding the principles of business, understanding the mindset that you need to have to go in and be successful, And then you can start to take the how and really the nuts and bolts of it. So when I think about monthly recurring revenue, that probably is the best place for us to start and really dig in right now, Jason, is around financial freedom, monthly recurring revenue. How, in your understanding, and when you think about it, what do docs out there need to know? Where's that knowledge gap between what they know today, where they could be in the future, and I'm going to say the keywords of financial freedom and monthly recurring revenue that tie them together? What are your thoughts on it?
What I want to do is help chiropractors really first get some perspective of where most of them are. I know there's a few of you go, well, that's not me. I'm generally speaking. I'm not speaking maybe about a few of you exceptions. I'm going to generalize. And I want to start by understanding the problem that most chiropractors have just simply accepted as reality, accepted as part of the gig. And it's sometimes a simple issue, and sometimes it's a really complex and deep life issue. But, to your point, you talk about, it wasn't long ago when, week 1, week 2, we're generating, we're going, I think we're going to hit it. Maybe you have a slow week 3, a slow week 4. And then the month is a mess financially. And then it starts creeping into your psychology. Then it starts creeping into your self-esteem. Then it starts creeping into your relationships. Then it starts creeping into your future. The problem we are solving for very specifically is what we refer to as CUFS, chronic financial stress. If you find that there's always this underlying whisper or current of, do we have enough to cover payroll? Do we have enough to cover rent? Do we have enough to cover expenses? Are we able to expand? Are we able to invest? Are we able to pay down debt? Are we able to grow the practice and invest? Are we able to donate and give out of our abundance to the causes, the institutions, the associations that we believe in, that we know are only going to help the profession in the long run? And the reality is most chiropractors are not living in that place and that space. There are exceptions. I'm not saying that there aren't successful chiropractors. There are. I am saying that most chiropractors are struggling to feel that success. And the reason I say that is because the reality that most chiropractors don't really think through is that it's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. It's not how much that comes in, because as time goes on, more money comes in, our expenses grow magically. It just seems to always happen that way. And so however long you're in practice, it just seems that even as the income goes up, so too do the expenses go up. And oftentimes we're just living in that sometimes profitable, sometimes not, sometimes losing months, sometimes bigger months. Add some sort of life crisis or some sort of unplanned financial event, and it becomes a financial struggle, which is why I continuously say that it feels for many chiropractors, I'm first to admit it, that our dream practice gets stolen by our need for money, by our need to drive a profitable business. And then we just change what we do at some point in time to just do it the easier, more profitable way, which is often very different than what we would maybe refer to as the right way, or the way we would really wish we could do it. And this is true in every profession, in the medical profession, et cetera. Plenty of medical professionals would rather spend more time with their patients, learning, asking questions, and they can't. They just can't afford to do it. They have to see a certain amount of people in a certain amount of time, a certain amount of reimbursement, and they adapt themselves to the system. And then after a period of time, you get burnt out, you get frustrated, and you just go through the motions, because nobody's going to go back to another school, start another career. We are in it. So we've got to make the best of it. So those are the easy issues. Let's talk about the more complex issues. Every chiropractor, and I'm going to then qualify by saying who's in a physical practice, earning their living by providing adjustments over a table, only earns a living providing adjustments over their table. Meaning, if you can't show up for work one day, or you want to go on vacation, or you get injured, or you've got something else you want to do, whatever that may be, life is a journey. And there are times you may want to take a month off and do something. There's times when, as I said, you get injured or something comes up. There are times when life happens and you want to move somewhere new. And the idea of, I've spent years building my patient base, building my practice, getting into the momentum it takes to have a constant, successful practice. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, you got to move. You want to move. You want to be closer to family. You want to be closer to your kids. You want to get out of the weather. Whatever the issue is, we all face these things. And I faced it. I needed to move from where I was living. The idea of starting a new practice was daunting and overwhelming. Most of us are paralyzed, have very limited options because of the way we've been running our finances, or the way we've been running our business, the way we set up our business. Now, in years past, when there was a lot of, I guess I'll call it reimbursement, I call it financial aid, but when there was a lot of third-party reimbursement that was much easier, lower deductibles, lower co-payments, less scrutiny in reimbursing for your care, then practices had a value to them. You can sort of predict on the consistency of the finances because you sort of knew that the insurance money would continue over years, and in some states better and some states worse. And you had a value to the asset called your practice. And these days it's changed. It's much more difficult. The value of a practice isn't quite the same because they become more personality based, because you're not getting paid by an anonymous insurance company and somebody who doesn't know you and have to like you in order to pay you. You just have to make sure you check the boxes and fill out your forms and you get paid. In today's world, you're actually in the people business. You actually have to give people something that they are attracted to wanting, attracting to want to make the time for, and attracted to want to pay you for. And that is a much more difficult process. Those that have been in practice for a long time will admit that. And oftentimes they're retiring early because it's just not like how it used to be. All of these issues are here that most of our profession faces, and it is going to get worse, not better. Many of you know you've been sort of advertising for new patients. Many of us, when we talk to you, you go, oh, that's great stuff you guys are doing, but I need more new patients. I don't have the time to teach my patients the truth about what I do. I got to get them in. And the one thing many chiropractors don't sort of, face up and fess up and kind of confess to is that what you would say to somebody to get them in tomorrow, the next day, this week, when they're in pain and you need the money, which is that whole immediate gratification, the message you share with somebody to say, great, yeah, we'll take care of you immediately, whether you're at a spinal screening or wherever. Yeah, sure, come in Monday. That is a very different message to a very different audience than what you would normally want to say to a general group of people who aren't just ready, motivated because of their pain to take action now. And hopefully they've got some sort of third-party reimbursement. The game, the system, the trap, whatever you want to call it, that many chiropractors have gotten into is simply because of the finances, because of the money, because of needing, rightfully so, to make sure that you cover your bills every single month and hopefully have a profit. So I want to pause for a moment. I know, it's almost a cliche, kind of almost even a bad joke. Most chiropractors, oftentimes, if they don't give back to their school, oftentimes will say, I'm not giving money back to the school. They never taught me anything about business. They never taught me anything about running a practice. They never taught me anything about making money. They got me my license. I got, some of the clinical stuff. I made a bunch of friends. But oftentimes we feel this collective resentment that the schools didn't do their job because they didn't prepare us to be successful in practice. And I hear that a lot. That's a very common thing. Well, here's what you need to know about business. One of the things we've been saying is, this book will teach you what you need to know about business that you never learned in chiropractic school. And let's break it down because it's actually really, really simple. Here it is. Every dollar you make above your expenses is your profit. Okay? It's that simple. It's that simple. Every dollar you earn above paying your expenses is your profit. And you want to generate as much profit as you want to, not as you need to, as you want to. So as we get a little deeper into, okay, what are you guys talking about? I got it. Yes, I want to have some recurring revenue. I want to have kind of an assurance policy if I ever got injured, if I was disabled, if I wanted to move, if I wanted to go on vacation for an extended period of time. Listen, worst case, let's not ignore reality. If something happened to you, where would your family get the money they need to continue to take care of themselves? If you're in a fee-for-service practice that you can't sell or transfer, this is a common occurrence. Chiropractors pass away. Their families need money to continue. This is the reality of being a chiropractor in active practice. And so you've got to get your money straight. You've got to get it handled for yourself, for your self-esteem, for a healthy relationship with your spouse, your kids, and to be able to do what you want to do, which is to provide for those that count on you to provide. And the way to do it is to understand the business model of practice, that the fee for service, being alone in your own practice, covering all of the overhead yourself, being open only the hours you're willing to be there, being closed when you go on vacation, or maybe having somebody come in. Some of you do, some of you don't. If you do, make sure you get to Chiro Matchmakers for help with that. But the key is that we do not have the freedom we deserve to be able to both be great at practice, to cover our expenses, to be able to generate the profit we want to, so we have the ability to earn revenue for something beyond being in the office, bending over a table, providing physical adjustments. It is very limiting to only earn your money that way. Now, in the past, plenty of chiropractors in the Mercedes 80s, that they called them, when the insurance was flowing, what they were taught to do by financial advisors was take the cash flow you're getting and invest it. Invest it into stocks, invest it into real estate, and invest it into other things that could generate, you ready? Monthly recurring revenue. They used to call it mailbox money, checks that only show up. Some of you did it, many of you didn't. Most of you as chiropractors are not qualified or even interested in being landlords and dealing with broken toilets and all that goes into owning property. Yes, it's a great financial way to make money, but it is not in any way aligned with your purpose, with what you do, with your skills, with your talents, with the momentum and motivation you have with your current practice. So this format, this business model will check all of your boxes because A, it is very doable. It takes an adjustment in your mindset. There's nothing we're going to teach you that any of you are going to say, that's impossible for me to do. I can't do that. You are in an excuseless environment because we will help you figure out the best form of monthly recurring revenue for you. And there's a whole variety of different options. And that's where it oftentimes gets confusing. What type of format of recurring revenue should I be generating? What's the best type of membership or subscription I should be offering? What's going to give me the best long-term benefit? What's the easiest one to get started? What's the most fulfilling? What's going to be the easiest to sell? What's the easiest to manage? What technology do I need to be able to use and do this? All of those are legitimate and important questions to ask. Some of you will be able to figure it out by just reading the book. Others of you are going to want ongoing help. This is the kind of book. Some of you, if you maybe remember, probably 10, maybe 15 years ago now, one of the books that changed our culture was a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And most of you probably heard it. He came out with other books, The 4-Hour Body, et cetera, et cetera. But The 4-Hour Workweek was really one of those kind of groundbreaking books that most of us read, and it opened our mind to this new idea of websites and email and controlling your time by being efficient, by being able to run businesses from anywhere in the world, from a computer, from a device. That was revolutionary. And Tim Ferriss did a great job, with the 4-Hour Workweek. I don't know anybody who's only working 4 hours, but that was the concept, was to automate your business so you have the freedom to generate the revenue you want from anywhere you want, with very little, in some cases no overhead. That was a consciousness breaker. All of us were like, what a great idea. Why has nobody ever shared with us what is now so obvious to all of us? This is that book for the new generation. Monthly recurring revenue, subscriptions, what you see every business out there moving towards. Disney, HBO, all of these companies out there are working in different ways. We've featured a few of them in the past. Adidas now has clubs. Amazon has subscription boxes that you can get. There are companies like BarkBox and other internet companies that are unicorn, multi-billion dollar companies because they share products you can buy anywhere, drop ship to your house on a monthly basis. So you've got the convenience of not having to remember to go buy dog food, to buy pet toys, whatever your monthly subscription might be. It is a convenience. It is expected for most consumers most of the time to have that as an option. And for our profession to ignore the reality of what is going on in the business world is just not a good idea. So that is really our motivation, is to share with you the ideas. For those of you that go, I'm into it, I get it, this is awesome. Then you join us on our webinar afterwards to get more access to, some people are great readers, other people like to learn by video, by audio, some group or video training where you can hear us and you can connect with us. We've got a webinar that we're going to be doing for all of our readers coming up. And then for those of you that want to actually implement this, you want to do this, and you want help from those that wrote the book on the topic, we'll be offering advanced training. So you are not alone. This is a journey that you can take, and you can do it with us. You can do it with other, basically, chiropractors who are building their payday practice as well. And together we can make a major movement, a major momentum shift in our profession for one specific reason. And that reason is for you to be able to practice with the freedom that you want to have. The collective benefit of happier, more successful, more generous, more honest chiropractors collectively sharing the truth about what you do, not just sharing what you need to say to somebody in pain to get them in, but sharing the truth about what you do, why you do it, why you're unique and different than the others, and have the patience and confidence to not have to be so desperate that you'll change your message, you'll manipulate your message to be able to make sure that whoever you're talking to gets in the office, whether they're your ideal client or not. For many of you, your ideal client has become somebody who's been in a car accident, somebody who's got really great insurance benefits. That shouldn't be the criteria for your ideal client for most cases, most of the time. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that money shouldn't be the driver as to who is the person you most want to take care of, is the person with the most generous benefits. And unfortunately, that for many of you is what it's become. Become the chiropractor you always dreamed of becoming. Think about when you first chose or decided to go to chiropractic school, that crazy moment. You're like, I'm in, I'm going, I'm doing it. I'm going to take 4 years of my life. I'm going to go a couple $100,000 in debt and then start in 3, 4, 5 years from now from scratch. That's a pretty crazy idea. And there was something. There was an idea, there was something you learned, there was a feeling you had in your heart that said, I'm doing that. That's what I'm dedicating my life to do. And yet for many, it's a financial struggle. Let's eliminate the financial stress so that you can be the chiropractor you've always dreamed of. Jeff, I know we've got some quotes at the beginning of the book, kind of in the opening of all of it. We quote Tony Robbins, we quote Seth Godin, Robert Kiyosaki, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss himself. Any of those resonate with you specifically? What is sort of what drives your heart, your passion in what we're doing? I know we're all different in how we sort of approach things, and kind of what floats to the top of value and importance. What really, I guess, excites you the most about what's coming out and the feedback we're getting from the few who we've shared it with so far?
Jason, I think the biggest thing that gets me excited when I look out there, I see a lot of chiropractors more than ever before sharing who they are and what they do online. And we help many of those chiropractors with the Smart Chiropractor, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, going at it each and every day on their own. And they're reaching millions and in some cases tens of millions of people. And the dichotomy here, and we've spoken with a few of these chiropractors that are just doing awesome things on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snap, you name it. They've been able to YouTube, build huge audiences. And sort of the challenge that they all end up with is, okay, I'm getting out there. I am generating a bunch of new patients from the content that I'm putting out. I totally get content creation. Many of them follow many of the people you just mentioned, Gary Vee, Tim Ferriss, Seth Godin. They geek out on it just like we do, but they end up with then this weird paradox of, man, like 85%, really more like 95% of their audiences don't live within their circle of practice. Okay, this person knows me, trusts me, likes me, they're engaging, they're following everything, and I keep building, in some of the docs we've spoken with, millions of people following them, some thousands, and growing. But no matter where you are in that spectrum, there's probably a good portion that are beyond your circle of practice. And it's like, am I wasting time doing this? Am I not? Like, where does the rubber meet the road? It's nice to see the numbers, but if they can't come in as a new patient, does that really matter? I can't impact their lives, and that's changed. You can impact the lives of people far beyond your circle of practice or people that move away by having an available option for them to engage with you. And those options quite often fall into exactly what we're discussing, which are membership, subscription, continuity, monthly recurring revenue, whether it be your online store and an e-commerce opportunity for them to engage with the practice, purchase some of your favorite products. We can go into that in a moment. There's a lot to dive into there. Whether it's online health coaching, whatever it might be, there's a variety of opportunities and we lay them out. So please download the book at thepaydaypractice.com. Again, that is thepaydaypractice.com. You can see it down below. There are a variety of different opportunities depending upon, here's the beauty, what you're passionate about as a chiropractor and what's your ideal patient coming in? What are the benefits you can offer them? What are the challenges that they're experiencing? This is not something that's like one size fits all and you're like, oh gosh, this doesn't really work with my practice. Here's the beauty. You get to decide. So we've laid out some pillars, 3 simple pillars that showcase different opportunities for you to be able to generate monthly recurring revenue. And the beauty of it is, and what gets me excited where this started, were these docs really getting out there and building their brand online. And there's more and more docs doing this each and every day to a variety of different levels. And it doesn't need to stop there. There's a core philosophy that we talk about within the Smart Chiropractor all the time: teach and invite consistently. Teach component is showcasing something engaging, entertaining, educational. And then invite is the call to action. That call to action for most chiropractors most of the time is schedule an appointment in the practice. That's A-okay. But man, it is beautiful when you're able to diversify that to visiting your online store, subscribing to your favorite Everybody Everyday supplements, whatever it might be for you, the health coaching that you now offer online, the health program that you've put up on a Kajabi or a Teachable or something to that effect. There are so many opportunities to extend the reach of your knowledge, to monetize in an ethical and a way that you can be super proud of the knowledge that you have to your audience, and for them to get supreme value. If they are following you, they trust you, they like you, and they want to engage with you, they just don't happen to live within a 5-mile radius, man, we're going to look at this in 20 years. We're going to look at this in about 2 years, I think, as the Payday Practice takes hold and say, what an archaic way. Wait a minute, Grandpa. You could only take care of people and build a business on somebody that lived within riding distance in a car of your practice. It just doesn't need to be that way. And the beauty is we've seen these companies, such as a few that we've highlighted earlier, specifically in the healthcare space, Athletic Greens, Ritual. We've seen companies in the membership space, even within chiropractic, The Joint, an example, a majority of their revenue, an overwhelming majority, as we understand it, 85% of their revenue is generated through monthly subscriptions. Now, whether you align with their message or not, doesn't matter. you get to build what you want, which is the beauty of it. If you have more of a rehab-based practice, you could do a clinic gym hybrid, as Dr. Josh Satterley has spoken of in the past. There are such an array of opportunities for you to get out there, but the first step is to really understand that, yes, it's an option for you. The second step is to then start to really work through, what do I want to offer? And that is where the Payday Practice really excels. We've included worksheets at the end of each section so that you can really track your progress throughout the book. And by the time you finish the book, you really have a complete action plan on how to install monthly recurring revenue services that can meet or exceed and cover your monthly expenses each and every month. In my humble opinion, and I've seen this, I don't believe I'm really engaged in any business that does not have at this point a monthly recurring component, because it's so important to the stability of a business. And we've seen so much vulnerability over the last few years in many practices. And thankfully, because of what's happened over the last few years, many practices have bounced back and are doing better than ever, which is awesome. That is actually the exact perfect time to explore opportunities, not when you are desperate and need it and challenged, but as your practice is thriving, being able to be creative, understanding what your patients want, and being able to have maybe a little bit more of that mind share to put into something that can really dramatically affect things 5, 10, 15 years down the road for your practice. When we talk about monthly recurring memberships and subscriptions, for many practices, this is going to be starting small. Like, you don't need to have 20,000 members and compete with, Amazon and millions of clients, customers, and members to make a significantly impactful difference in your monthly finances. For many practices, and we explore this in the book in great detail, Jason, supplements are an easy example. They're just the easiest thing to look at. 70% of people walking into chiropractic practices each and every day are taking some form of an everybody everyday supplement. That would be something like a multi, potentially a magnesium, a fish oil, sleep, those non-therapeutic supplements. 70% of the people coming into your practice are doing it. And the example I give, and I'll continue to give because it's a personal pain point for me, is seeing patients in practice. They're coming in, they're asking me what I'd recommend. I'm spending 10 minutes sort of like poorly describing something, but trying my best, telling them where to get it. The patient then leaves. They come back the next week with something they bought on Amazon. It's the wrong thing. That didn't serve them. That didn't serve me. How much better and easier is it when you have the opportunity to say, that is a fantastic question. I have my favorite supplements available in our store right now. The QR code is right there on a piece of paper or a flyer next to where you have that patient. That is a cleaner, easier way to go about it. It actually is a far better patient experience. Now they're getting exactly what you would actually recommend. They're going to be happier, you're going to be happier, and your business is going to be happier because, especially with everybody everyday supplements, that is a member, that is a subscription, and it's just one at a time. And think about 70% of the people coming into your practice actively taking supplements. What if just 5%, 10% of them went and utilized what you actually recommend? That's going to make such a meaningful difference. So that was a very long-winded way to get to the answer of what am I most excited about. I'm excited for those docs that are taking action already, that I see building fantastic audiences that are teaching and inviting, but really haven't put it together on how they can really make that work at the highest level, one, for their patient, and two, for their practice. How about yourself?
Well, I'm excited because, I've said before, checks all the boxes kind of thing. I'm going to keep sort of saying, this really is, we've stress tested this idea over and over and over and over again. Where's the weaknesses? Where's the yeah buts? Where's the crack in the foundation? Where is there legitimate criticism? And there isn't any. We haven't found any. That's the point. So what I want to break down is with such, I'll call such a strong foundation, such a solid concept. Let's start with some of the most important things here to sort of think through. If I'm listening, hopefully you are still listening, I'm thinking, okay, how does this apply to me? And, is this the right thing? Is this just a money thing? Is this a good thing? Why am I doing this? What would drive me to do this beyond addressing my financial needs? So the first most important issue is, This is designed to help you get over the month-to-month frustration of getting your bills paid. If you knew that your monthly recurring bills were covered by monthly recurring revenue consistently, month after month after month after month, I want you to just pause for a moment and just feel that feeling. Okay? You know the number, or you can easily calculate the number of how much money you must earn to not feel stressed out. Let me be even more clear. What's the least amount? Now, if I made $1 million this month, I wouldn't feel stressed out. What's the least amount of money you must earn to not feel financially stressed out? We have coined that term. We call that your MVMI, your minimum viable monthly income. It is the least amount of money that you must earn to not feel stressed. That's a number. If somebody could write you a paycheck for that number, you're covered your expenses. Now feel that feeling for a moment. If you knew that this month, next month, the month after that, your expenses were covered. Now I'm not saying you're going to run to the Ferrari dealer or Bentley dealer or whatever you dream. I'm not saying you're going to buy a new house next year. This is not a get rich quick thing at all. It is a cover your monthly expenses consistently thing. And the question becomes, how would you feel? What would you do differently if you weren't stressing about the money? How much more creative, how much more generous, how much more interesting, how much more fun, how much more creative. I mean, you are a creator. You get to choose what you want to teach. You get to choose who you want to care for, how you want to care for them, how short or long you want to have a relationship, a connection, provide services for them. You get to choose all of those things. But what I want to also point out is that this is best for people. Okay? Yes, it's good for you. Yes, it's good for your financial security. Yes, it's good for your family, your kids, all the people that depend on you. It's great for that. And it's great for the people in your community. And here are a few of the many, 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 many reasons why. One, there's a very good chance that you have what I'm going to call very, very, very small front door. What do I mean by that? I don't mean the physical size of your front door. I mean that it's more than likely that the only people coming through your front door are people who are experiencing some sort of symptom, who have oftentimes some sort of third-party reimbursement, who have often tried a bunch of different other things already and are continually living with the pain, and hopefully randomly either have a friend who refers them, maybe sees one of your deep discounts for the gazillionth time and finally breaks down and tries it. But it's more than likely that those are the types of people coming to practice. In fact, most of you would tell me people aren't going to the chiropractor for wellness or subluxation correction or for what we call proactive care to help you improve your health, improve your performance, reduce your risk of bad things from happening. Most of you would tell me, yeah, people don't do that. And I would go, you're right. But why? Why don't they do that? Why do so many of us chiropractors get together, we adjust each other, we get checked oftentimes weekly, sometimes more, sometimes less, but we apply that concept of getting checked, getting adjusted in our lives, and yet oftentimes don't apply that same type of ethical, honest philosophy to the people coming to us. Now we go, oh, well, they're not interested in that the way I am. They just want quick pain relief without drugs. How do you know that? Oh, I know that because they're not coming in. Oh, but if I called your practice today, or if I asked a friend who was seeing you in your practice, would they be able to articulate to me what it costs and how easy it is for somebody who's asymptomatic, who wants to improve their health and be proactive with their health? Do you have a plan for that? Is there an easy way for people to go, oh, I feel great, but I can do that. That makes sense to me. Most chiropractors don't have that process, that procedure, that offer in place for people. And what that leaves us is in the situation that the profession is in right now. I did some rough back of napkin calculations. There's roughly 1% of the population right now, today, going to a search engine, typing in some form of chiropractor, my town, back pain, my town, symptom, my town, that is actively symptomatic, searching for a chiropractor. That's roughly 1% or so. 3 million out of 300 plus million per day. What about the other 99%? Is the whole plan for the profession to just go, well, we'll just wait until they broke down. You know, everybody's going to break down at some point. We'll wait for them to break down. Is that the plan? Is that our philosophy? Is that your philosophy? Is that what you really believe? Or is that what you've just sort of accepted as the reality of the way it is because that's what everybody's always taught? I'm going with that one. So here's my question. You got 99% of the population that isn't actively searching for a chiropractor today, which is where 60, 70, 80, 90% of the profession puts their energy to do marketing. When we talk marketing, especially digital marketing with chiropractors, they don't even know how to think about it. They're like, oh, first page of Google, is that what you can do? You get me on the first page of Google so that when people search, they'll find me? That's 1% of the population. You want to be generous, call it 5% of the population. It's not, but it's an insignificant number relative to the number of people that are out there who actually do care about their health. If you're like me, you might have gotten frustrated to the point where you believed the lie that after sharing chiropractic with so many people so often, so frequently, and having so few people want to receive the proactive benefits of care, you may have come to the conclusion, like I once did, to say either people don't care about their health, they just don't care about their health, or they're not smart enough to understand what we're really talking about. Neither of those are true. I thought they were for a period of time because that was my experience. Well, I just shared with you the truth. I just showed you your x-rays. I told you I can help you. How come you're not doing it? Are you not smart enough to know how to make the right decision? We are playing small as a profession. I'll challenge to say you're probably playing small in your practice, and I don't care how big your practice is. The potential we have to reach the 99% of people. In fact, let's just assume there's always 10% who are the extremists, okay? Pick your number. It's still a majority of the population who care about their health, who actively invest in their health in something. They're buying supplements. They're getting their shots. They're getting their boosters. They think that's health. They think it is. Why do they think it is? Because you may not be offering a loud enough alternative to understand what it means to be proactive with your health and well-being. Well, why aren't you doing that? Well, I don't know how to make any money doing that. Those days are over. So, A, it is good for those people that are not in the symptomatic 1% that most of the profession is catering to. It opens up what they call the blue ocean as opposed to the red ocean, so that anybody who's interested in understanding what they can do to invest in their health proactively has a plan available to come in and see a chiropractor for proactive benefits, knowing the difference between reacting to a symptom and being proactive with your health and performance. These programs help you have not just one small door, but two big doors. So that's one option again for you. The other thing that it does is that it's not uncommon, it may be actually frequent, that somebody has been to your practice, they didn't follow your care plan recommendations as you laid them out, they got the symptomatic relief they were hoping for, but as you told them, it came back in time. Happens every day, all the time, to almost every chiropractor. And wouldn't you know it, but when the symptom comes back, instead of coming back to you and going, I know you told me what I should do, and I know I didn't listen to you, let's continue on with the care plan you originally recommended, they go to a different chiropractor. That's what happens. And that's not good for you. That's not good for them. What's good for people is to be able to say, I'm going to my chiropractor. I have a chiropractor, which means you have an ongoing relationship, a connection, whether they're following you online in your social channels, whether they're receiving your regular email updates that aren't just sales pitches or appointment reminders, but it's value that you're sharing with them because you actually care. And you can afford to make the investment of teaching people about themselves so they can be better human beings, some of the time because they work with you. People should know who their chiropractor is. I cannot tell you. I'm sure you've had this experience as well. Oh, I love going to the chiropractor. My chiropractor saved my life. Oh, really? You go frequently? Oh, yeah. Like, every couple of years, my headache comes back. I pop right in. He pops my neck, and I'm good to go for a couple more years. It's awesome. Well, what's your chiropractor's name? Oh, that's ridiculous. That is what happens. It's embarrassing as a chiropractor to ask people who their chiropractor is, and more often than not, they can't even remember their chiropractor's name. That tells me they don't have a connection, a relationship, an ongoing, I'm going to my dentist, I'm going to my doctor, I'm going to my accountant, I'm going to my counselor, I'm going to my... Most people do not have a my chiropractor that they can remember their names. Why? Because our practices are not set up for that. We have optimized for quick profitability at the expense of building relationships over time, building an audience of people who over years come to us. Now let's pause for a moment and let's break down one of our core principles that is a complete paradigm shift for most chiropractors. And that paradigm shift goes like this. As we've been watching and observing, most chiropractors, most of the time, invest their limited marketing dollars into Facebook ads, now TikTok ads, whatever deep discount. Let's target our audience. Let's give them a really good deal. Let's get them in. Well, who are them? People in pain who live closely, who are looking for quick relief. That's who you're targeting if you're doing those types of ads. What if you also worked with those people that weren't doing that, but you had messaging for people to say, I like you. I'm learning from you. You're helping me. I don't have neck pain, back pain, or a muscular symptom, but I have finally now understand how you can help me improve my health and well-being. I finally now understand how an adjustment to my spine can affect something not connected to my spine. It only happens by teaching and inviting consistently. So the 5 types of new patients that you want to understand, the paradigm shift is that most of you are spending the most amount of money to attract the least qualified new patient. Now you say to me, that's not true. They're the most qualified new patient because they're in pain and they got third-party reimbursement and they live closely. Now I'm going to suggest to you that yes, that may be your ideal patient in the short run, if you're the one who needs the money. But if you're a chiropractor and I ask you generally, who's chiropractic for? Most of you would say, well, anybody who cares about their health, whether they're symptomatic or not. Now, some of you may not buy into that. That's okay. Whatever your philosophy is, we accept, we appreciate and celebrate diversity in our philosophical spectrum of beliefs. So here it goes. Your best next new patient, the person you should be targeting, the most valuable patient you could have is keeping your current patient. Well, that's not a new patient. Actually, if you do the math and you do the numbers and you figure out and you calculate, keeping your people for a longer period of time, not because you're keeping them and tricking them, but because they understand why to stay with it. Keeping your people over longer periods of time is the smartest, least expensive, most effective way to building your practice over time. It costs you money to process new patients. It doesn't cost you money to continue to care for them the same way. Or I should say, it doesn't cost you as much. So your best next new patient is keeping your current patient. Your second best new patient is a referral from your current patient. People like us do things like this, as Seth Godin says. So if there's somebody who is your best client, they've got friends, family members, coworkers, neighbors, people they meet and connect with that they share their enthusiasm with. They are out there going. You just see Top Gun, you should see it. You've been to this restaurant, you should go. You read this book, you should read it. You've been to this place, you should go. That's what we do. We share the things that we're excited about with each other. So your second best new patient is a friend, a referral, a neighbor, a coworker, or somebody you've spoken to from one of your best new patients. Your third best new patient is somebody who is learning from you, somebody who's following you, somebody who's part of what we call your health tribe. Health tribe are the number of people or the people that you can connect with digitally for free, not from paid ads, your email list and your social following, and the people who watch you on YouTube, and the people who come into your practice who you can teach through your in-office video screens and newsletters you hand out. That's your audience. We call it your health tribe. There's a tribe of people that come to you, oftentimes most likely for something to do with their health. That is the place to be attracting your third best type of new patient. Your fourth best new patient is the first time, all of those first three, your top best new patients, and many of you could run practices with only sources from those three patients. But let's just say you wanted to spend some money on advertising. Then the way to spend money on advertising, we're not saying advertising is a bad thing. We're saying deep discount advertising to strangers who don't know you, who are only coming in because it's so cheap. That's not a great way to build a long-term sustainable practice. It may be a great way to get them in now and generate some activity and generate some revenue now. That's a great thing. But too many practices are so desperate that that's all they always focus on. So if you're going to spend money on advertising, your fourth best type of new patient is to retarget advertise to the people in your health tribe, the people who are already receiving your newsletter, watching your videos, listening to your podcasts, who are in some way have a digital connection with you. You go, well, there's not that many people. We go, there are. You've got a whole email list in your electronic health records. Though many of you have tried to do something on social media, you do have followers. You may not have been doing it consistently. You may not be doing it with the teach and invite consistently philosophy, but you've got people following you. You can specifically advertise specific ads that don't have to be so discounted to the audience that is learning from you. We call your health tribe. And your fifth best type of new patient is the one that most all of you are focused on attracting. The least qualified, most expensive type of person to come into your practice is where most of the profession is focusing their investment of time and money. I think of that as insanity. I think of it as ridiculous. I think of it as counterproductive. And I don't blame you. Most of chiropractors are not marketers. They're not business people. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not technology geeks that understand these different types of trends and the ability to use technology to automate different types of processes. It's not your fault. Most of our mentors taught us this. My mentors taught us this. We're talking about the world has changed, if you haven't noticed. So that's the paradigm that we are coming from. We want to help you build a steady stream of people who stay with you longer because you've got a plan for that. We want to help you work with those people to increase the number of referrals from them that come in. We want to help you automate by teaching and inviting consistently your health tribe through automated social media, through email campaigns, newsletters, follow-up, reactivation campaigns that we've built for you that are waiting for you to share with your health tribe. We want to help you do all of these things, but we can't until you understand how genius all of this is, how smart it is for you, how beneficial it is for them, and how you will build over time monthly recurring revenue through momentum that will eventually eliminate your financial stress forever, so that you can be the best chiropractor, the best human being, the best person, spouse, friend, family member, community member. None of us are at our best when we're under stress, especially financial stress. The math just doesn't add up. We are at our best, not when we are ridiculously wealthy, but when we are out of stress and into freedom. The freedom to share what you want, with who you want, when you want, the way you want, so that you can practice the way you deserve to practice. Jeff, we've had great feedback from people. I know Garrett Gunderson wrote a great foreword for the book, financial advisor to many thousands of chiropractors, New York Times bestselling author, understands this concept deeply. He's been helping us through the book, coaching us on different ideas, made a great contribution, lent his name, image, and so on. He's going to be sharing this with his people as well. What are some of the things you've gotten from feedback from people who have read the book, shared the book, and so on that you think is maybe unique or exciting for others to know about?
The big thing for me is that it applies to so many different types of practices. And whether we're speaking, again, with a practice that's focused on rehab and really movement-based assessments, or whether it's more of a wellness practice, potentially it's a pediatric and or pregnancy practice, once we go through the concepts, like, oh, duh, all right, it makes sense in nearly every aspect of how you choose to practice. And to me, that's one of the most exciting aspects of creating monthly recurring revenue and having a payday practice is, again, the beauty, the simplicity of you get to choose how you want to install what system to make it happen. But the biggest thing is to understand, number one, that's possible, and number two, to take those initial action steps. That's where we'll encourage you, of course. Please download a free copy of the book while it's available digitally right now. You can head over to thepaydaypractice.com. Again, that's The Payday Practice. You can see it on the screen right down there. And head over there, download a copy of the book, because it lays it out in a very step-by-step linear fashion to make it super easy for you. But I love talking with a variety of different chiropractors about the concepts, and everyone has said the same thing. Man, this makes so much sense. This is something that I would like to and will be learning about and taking the action steps in my own practice. And to me, that's really the most powerful aspect of it. And it's born from, as you described early on today's Smart Chiropractic show, it's born from some of the pain we've experienced, just being that super high, like I would say 99, 100% fee for service. And then you end up really at the whim of what's going on each and every week. And that sort of vulnerability makes you uneasy at best and can be really devastating at worst. So being able to build in stability with monthly recurring revenue, with the goal of eventually covering your monthly expenses with that revenue, it just opens up a world of possibilities for how you can practice. And the beauty of it, again, is whether you want to extend some of your in-person services with proactive care or have that second front door, whether you want to offer e-commerce memberships and subscriptions via supplements, makes a heck of a lot of sense, whether you want to have health coaching, maybe weight loss, clinic gym hybrid, there are so many different puzzle pieces that you can put together. The biggest thing is understanding that it exists. And I think for many chiropractors out there, understanding that it's not as difficult as you might think it is. And that's really what we've dug into the weeds within the Payday Practice book, and why we built it as a step-by-step process so that it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And nobody expects, a chiropractor to also be a web developer and all these other things. And traditionally, technology has made it super difficult. But that's certainly where we've spent a lot of time, not only fleshing out the idea, but building some of the technology on the back end, for instance, with our Smart Care store system on the e-commerce side of things. And we have some fantastic partners, whether it's the weight loss and the health coaching, whether it's some of the extension of the in-person services. There are just so many resources that chiropractors now have available to make these systems and processes easy to implement. It is not something that you need to invent yourself. And it's certainly something I'm going to encourage you not to invent yourself, because it's going to take you so much time, effort, energy to get over the hump. But the systems and the processes remain tried and true. We see them happening in so many healthcare businesses, very few chiropractic practices. We hope to change that as time has gone on. And even over the last few months, I think both of us have seen chiropractors doing this in slightly different ways. An example of it was that I've seen quite a few chiropractors that are doing well on some social channels now selling like PDFs to help people with social, etc. That's a great mini first step because it's monetizing the information that they've gathered, but it's a one-time sale, sometimes for $20, and it's just to other chiropractors. That's a very limited audience. And for most of everybody listening and watching, your sweet spot is communicating with the public. Your sweet spot is communicating with your community, not necessarily to other chiropractors. That's where a payday practice and monthly recurring revenue can come in so clutch, is because you already have that built-in audience. So instead of trying to, as Jason mentioned, get more new patients by discounting services, and that's how you're offsetting each month. And did we have a bad month? Did we have a good month? I'm going to push and pull on my ad spend and then try to convert there. Everybody has seen at this point in time, it's not controversial. That's a law of diminishing returns. You're day trading money, and quite frankly, most of the time, I'll just say in plain English, it sucks. Like, that doesn't like light up most people as their idea of a wonderful day, being stacked with patients that may or may not come in based off some of their advertising, and then they're having conversion conversations with those patients. That's not exactly what lights everybody up, but I can guarantee you, when you have an extension of what you do as a membership or a subscription or a continuity that enables you to stay engaged with your ideal patients longer and at a higher level, there's nothing that gets you more fired up in practice. That is really where a payday practice can make a shift or a transformation. Yes, the financial aspect of it is a big one. It cannot be understated or overstated, whichever way. It can't, that is a big, big deal. But your happiness day to day, I'm going to say, is an even bigger deal. And being able to go in fired up and jazzed up and being able to take care of people and having the options that help you create a stronger business only helps you be more happy. Happiness is not relative to your bank account day in and day out, but as the old saying goes, it does make a hell of a difference, right? Being able to show up and not being super stressed out on whether you're making payroll is great. And even if you're beyond that, if you're listening and saying, I'm doing pretty good, like my practice is cruising along, awesome. Now is exactly that time where building in 10, 20%, whatever that might be. We'll go through the numbers. If you download the Payday Practice, thepaydaypractice.com, we go through all of the formulas you need in the worksheets to develop your own MVMI and financial freedom formula, which we can talk about in a moment. But when you can show up and you know that eventually your expenses are covered with recurring revenue, it just dramatically, again, the only words I can think of are shift and transforms your opportunity to show up. Because now selling is not something that really needs to enter your vocabulary. It can really be all about serving. But in order to do that, there is a minimum amount of money you need, right? We have office space, we have expenses, you have internet, you might have a team or staff around you. There are just those things that are just the expenses that show up each and every month. Some of you, they're super high. Some of you, you've mitigated them and kept them low, but they're still there. Being able to eliminate that as a source of stress, and again, showing up on day one each and every month, having profit coming in and checking that bank account and having it be more than the services you delivered by hand day after day, month after month, year after year, that is the compound interest that you want. And the conclusion of this as well, and what gets me excited for some of the docs that might be a little bit more veterans. I know earlier I spoke to the docs really getting out there, and many of them are the younger docs that are super savvy and they're getting out there on all the social channels, building huge followings. But this also applies to the docs that maybe you're sitting there and you have 1,000, 5,000, maybe some 10,000 patient records, lives that you've impacted, families that you've impacted. Talk about a fantastic way to build revenue pre-retirement that enables you to be more solid and secure post-retirement. There is never a bad time. It's almost like looking at your 401k or a pension or something. Investing in your future and being able to do things today that generate as predictable as possible results tomorrow is really a great way to go about business. And unfortunately, again, for so many chiropractors, we just show up every day, take care of the people on the books, whatever we did, true service business, fee for service, AKA. It doesn't have to be 100% that way. To be super clear, we're not saying get out of it and totally, for many of you, living an online lifestyle might not be exactly what you want to do. That's cool. Do what you're doing, but do just a little bit. I'm not even gonna say a little bit more, but do something just a little bit different. Extend that service line just a touch, and you can create a payday practice. I think it's one of the most important conversations chiropractors can and should be having. I feel like I am super privileged, Jason, to work with you so that we can lead it. And I don't know. I'm just going to encourage every doc out there, as they've listened, as they've dove in deeper, as we've been just highlighting so many different aspects of having a payday practice. The nuts and bolts of it are available in the book right now, thepaydaypractice.com. You can check it out. I don't know, Jason. There's so many different ways we can dive into. There's the models. There's also some of these other examples. There are some of the testimonials that you've brought up earlier. I'd love to spend a few minutes here. I know we're going to be up against it in the not too distant future, but let's talk about a few of these other examples in a little more detail, because for docs out there to connect what's possible with what they can do, I think is one of the most important things we can inspire them to do today.
I do. I think it's a great idea. And I want to get just very now tactical and practical, as my good friend Stephen Franson always likes to say and says so well. So I'm looking at on our version of the book, page 97 and 98. These are worksheets that are in the book. Again, go to thepaydaypractice.com, download the free book. It's all free. Everything we're teaching is free right now through this format. So if you look at those pages, you'll see a workbook, worksheets, excuse me. And it's in a workbook also, which you'll get when you sign up as well. But I want to throw out, some of you might go, sounds good. Okay, I'm in. Great. Okay. What do I do? And the answer is that you get to choose. Think of yourself as a chef. You can create anything you want to. Okay. You're an artist. You got a blank canvas. You can create anything you want to. It is your show. It is your project, your program, your revenue. And you can pick and choose whatever feels best to you. We'll help guide you. If you ask questions, you become part of our training, our 30-day advanced accelerator training to get you, 30 days to start generating recurring revenue. We'll help you answer your questions. But for right now, you should know your options. So let's get really specific. You may want to write some of this down. Number one, there are 3 different types of monthly recurring revenue models for you to think through. And you can choose 1, 2, or all 3. Okay, so let's break them down. Number 1, in-person services. One of the beautiful things about this approach of generating monthly recurring revenue is that you don't have to do anything different than you're doing right now. You're providing services. I assume you're a chiropractor. You provide adjustments in your practice, and you can create a membership model. We recommend them to be a proactive membership model, because if somebody comes to you in pain and says, I need your care, then and they know that they don't qualify for the proactive membership. They go through your normal door. But for everybody else who is not in pain, not suffering, not symptomatic, but curious to know how you can actually help them through proactive care, that is one approach. You're still providing adjustments, slightly different frequency, slightly different conversation, but you're providing physical adjustments in the same place you're providing them now. That is the easiest way to get started, because you're doing what you do now, just explaining it or packaging it slightly differently. So that's one option. And I'm going to go into some detail and more, but I want to get all 3 out first. So option, in-person services, just like you're providing right now on a monthly membership model. We call it a proactive membership. 2, you can share your knowledge. Hey, I got a concept for you. Make money with more than using your hands. Hey, we believe in you. We think you actually have more skill, more value, more knowledge than just where do I place my hands and make adjustments. You know stuff. You know a lot of stuff. You know a lot of stuff you're not sharing with people because you haven't figured out how to earn any revenue. And any moment you're talking, you're not adjusting, you're not making money. So you don't have any incentive to teach people about these other types of things that can be helpful to them, whatever they may be, things they need to know and or things you're just really passionate about teaching. Jeff mentioned it earlier. Having joy in practice should be a goal of yours, to not just make the most amount of money you can make, but to both simultaneously make the most amount of money you can make while experiencing the most amount of joy and satisfaction and feeling of contribution and generosity that you're making a difference in the world. Those are the two different things. In some cases, they call it the third bottom line. So you can package your knowledge, and there's all kinds of different ways of doing that. I'll get into detail and more. But whether it's for getting out of pain, whether it's for stretches at home rehab, whether it's for life coaching. Some of you are actually motivational speakers yourselves. You're very inspiring. And you, in fact, in some cases, help other business people who are friends, and you don't get paid for it. There are different ways you can package your knowledge and experience for other people to benefit from it. And you can do it very technical and automated, or you can do it completely analog and live. And I'll give you specifics in just a few moments. So option one, proactive membership, providing adjustments the way you do now, just in a different package. Option two, share your knowledge, things they need to know or you love sharing, and package it in a membership or subscription format. I'll go into detail in a moment. Number three, again, Jeff mentioned this earlier, about 50, maybe even more % of your practice already buys supplements, and they probably already buy them from who knows where and for who knows what reason. Oh, I went to Whole Foods. They told me I should take this. I read an article. They said I should take that. I went to Amazon. I went to Target. I went to Costco. I went to fill in the blank, big box store, online website, but they are buying supplements right now that they should be getting from their doctor, their health professional, not their crisis doctor, but their health doctor. Why would they not buy what they're buying from you? In fact, I'll even take it a step further just to make it hurt a little bit more. I'll bet you get questions, if not every day, at least multiple times per week, of people actually asking you this exact question. Hey, doc, is there something I should be taking? What do you take for yourself? What does your family take? I'm, all confused about this supplement thing. There's so many things that are out there. It's so confusing. What should I do? And most of you haven't figured out a profitable way to answer that question without some version of, again, what Jeff described. Oh, you should take more of this, go get it somewhere. I recommend whatever, local store, online, whatever it may be. You give the recommendation, you share your information, you share your knowledge and experience, and you don't benefit from it. Or you're on the other side of the nutritional equation. I'm going to address it, but this is not what we're talking about. We are not talking about selling supplements to treat conditions. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a very limited and specific form of supplements that would be appropriate to subscribe to receive month after month after month after month. Not take these until the symptom goes away and then you're good. But those things, myself, probably yourself, and millions of other people take every day. We, in fact, conveniently call it everybody, everyday supplements. And there's many companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies that are drop shipping, meaning they send the bottle or send the powder, they send the package to their house, to my house every month, automatically. Could go and go. I made one buying decision a couple years ago, and I receive my supplements month after month after month after month after month after month automatically. One sale, long period of time. You are their guru. You're their doctor. You're the person they're asking these questions to. And if you're not answering it right, they will buy it somewhere else and do buy it somewhere else. That is what we call leaving a lot of money on the table unnecessarily. And it's not being of most service to the people that are actually asking you these questions, expecting you to give them an answer. So those are the three different types: in-person, knowledge, and supplement subscriptions. Now, what do you do with all of that? You build an easy to communicate, easy to understand membership program. And oftentimes, and we give all kinds of examples in the book, it may be just adjustments, it may be just knowledge, it may be just supplements, or it may be some combination of the three. Get an adjustment per month. And when I say that, it doesn't mean it's only one adjustment. Pick whatever. Maybe it's 2 adjustments, 3 adjustments, 4 adjustments, whatever your philosophy is. It's at least one adjustment a month. Have an adjustment. Come in the office, pick up your monthly supplement supply, and have access to our monthly knowledge experience. I'm going to read a few ideas on how you can package your knowledge. So, for example, people are buying. What are they buying? What would they pay for? What would they subscribe for? What could you give them different than, I came in, I laid down, I got adjusted, you billed my insurance, I paid my copay, thank you very much. And hopefully I'll follow your recommended care plan, okay? What could you offer in addition to those things? Well, people are paying for more information, as in teaching them something. They're paying for access, as in, I just want to have the knowledge that if I have a question, if I have a problem, if I want to know something, I could text you, I can call you, I can attend exclusive open office hours for members only that I can get my questions answered. I want access to you. I may want to be part of the community of other like-minded, proactive people. So here's a list of things, a short list of things you could add to your combination of adjustments, knowledge, and subscribe and save supplements. You could give people direct access to you. Hey, members of our program, get my cell phone number and you can text me. Get my email. You can email me. Can call in during my open office hours once a week, every 2 weeks, whatever it may be. You're giving them access to ask you questions and learn more from you. 2, you can do one-on-one services. People have different goals than just get me out of my physical musculoskeletal pain, and you probably could help them. So for those that want more than just lay down, pay me for an adjustment, and want more access to you one-on-one, that's a premium. More time, more access, more information, and you probably like doing some of those things, I'm guessing. 3, you could hold members-only events. Members-only events in your office, members-only events at a local facility, a club, a restaurant, a country club, a gallery, whatever it may be, and make it an experience. You know, people like us do things like this, as you've heard me say before, Seth Godin. People like us like to meet people like us who do things like this. That is our social network, our live social networks. You can have meals, you can have experiences. What if you did a monthly walk and talk? Hey, we're going to go for a hike. I'm going to share with you knowledge about a different topic every month. Maybe if you're part of the Smart Chiropractor, you know our monthly campaigns. You can teach and share and connect and communicate on a monthly hike if you wanted to, or a monthly walk, a monthly get together. You could host a different challenge every month, right? We're going to do a weight loss challenge. We're going to read a book challenge. We're going to do a walking challenge. We're going to do whatever challenge you want. Build community, be creative, have fun. If you don't want to do it live, you can do digitally. You can do your group Zoom calls. You can do open office hours. There's all kinds of different ways. You can do a Facebook group for members only who pay. You can give extra referral passes to members only. I know when I join the zoo, I get a cheaper access and I get some bonus tickets for other people to come with me. That's how memberships work. Those are the incentives that we give them. What else do we have? You could build a local network of preferred providers. You probably already have a local network. A massage therapist, acupuncturist, personal trainer, health food store, healthy restaurants, bookstores, and on and on and on. Medical specialists that are part of your network that may agree that if you referred somebody to them who was a member of your program, they got member pricing at other local people or places that you work with, and put this into place. You could give a welcome kit, a health home exercise supplement kit. Hey, when you join, we're going to get bands and balls and straps and whatever home stuff that people, pillows, whatever it may be. You can build a kit that members get when they join up. You can build your membership website that's members only for members. You can have, now if you only do your in-office services, here are a couple other gems for you to think of. You could have member pricing for other services in your practice. So yes, I'm a member of your proactive program, but if you have other things you offer, they could get member pricing on those services too. You could have certain specific exclusive hours. Maybe it's 30 minutes before the practice and 30 minutes after for members only. Call them fast pass hours. We know that members understand how this works. So this is a convenient way for members to get in and get out during certain prime time hours. It's a benefit of membership. And you can offer some sort of family visit option. So here's what it costs you to come on in. But if you're a member, you can bring 1, 2, or 3 members of your family with you on your visit for a family visit as a member. The options and ideas are endless. Be as creative as you'd like to be. We're just giving you some ideas to stimulate your creativity. We don't care how you do it as long as it's honest and ethical, that you agree with it. The goal, the bullseye, the point, the objective is very simply to have more joy in practice, doing what you know is the right thing to do, while simultaneously building your monthly recurring revenue over time, so that maybe the beginning, what would $1,000 a month do to reduce your stress? Then it becomes $3,000, $5,000, $9,000, $12,000. And over time, you build this subscription revenue. If you don't want to do all these other things, I don't want to do supplements. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not trained in it. It's not my area of expertise, even though we're talking about a multivitamin or daily greens. That's fine. You don't want to do it? No problem. I don't want to teach people about stuff. I talk too much as it is. That's not my thing. If all you want to do is physical, then just do physical. If the limitation to just doing physical is that it does keep you connected and tied to your physical practice. Not that that's a bad thing, but there will be a day that you want to retire, go on vacation, you may get hurt, something happens, you want to move, whatever it may be. There will be a day that you are not physically in your practice, and you might want to generate revenue not physically being in your practice. So the easiest one is just to extend your physical services, but there's limitations, as we're saying, because you have to still physically be in your practice. The next best one is your knowledge. You're smart, you're charismatic, you know stuff. Share it, automate it. Figure out. We'll teach you what is the best way to do it. Is it easier just to get going and do it live? Is it easier to invest a little bit and put it on a website so that once you've created it, then people can access it 24/7 without you having to do additional work afterwards? There's pros and cons to every decision. And our favorite really is the subscribe and save supplements. And the very simple reason why it's our favorite is because it has the least limitations. Here's what I mean by that. If you wanted to stop practicing for whatever reason, you want to or you have to, you still have people who are subscribing and saving to receiving your supplements. Jeff mentioned earlier, the sweet spot for those of you that have been in practice for a long period of time, you've got a big email list you've never done anything with, is to start teaching them and get them on your subscribe and save supplement subscriptions. Again, you're not selling anything. They're buying the products anyway already. You understand that this is not something new, that you're giving them a better option to what they're doing now anyway, and they probably would feel good about buying it from you if you had a good relationship with them. That's the way people behave. They'd rather buy it from somebody they care about than nobody at Target or Amazon or other billionaires they don't need to make more money. They'd rather support their local chiropractor who's just been so good to them. So, the good news about the subscribe and save supplements, as I said, it doesn't require you to be in physical practice any longer. You could have hundreds, if not thousands of subscribers and travel the world. So you can mix and match these ideas any way you want to. And we love the idea. Get at least one visit a month. Come to an event in our office per month. Have open office hours at least a month, and get your monthly supplements and package that into something that's easy to explain. Give it a name, give it a price that's reasonable, calculate your MVMI, your minimum viable monthly income, the least amount of money you must make to not feel stressed, calculate how many members you have to get at whatever price to achieve your monthly expenses. That's it in a nutshell. That's the book. That's how it's done. Now, there's plenty of details, but that is the conversation. That's the coaching. That's the ongoing training. And the goal is to help you understand your options, help you choose your options, and then help you actually create, launch, and grow your membership so you start generating monthly recurring revenue in the next 30 days. You read the book, you join our training, you go through the workbooks and processes, you engage in the calls with us, and we will be there holding your hand metaphorically to help you get it built, get it started, and reduce your financial stress forever so you can have the freedom that you deserve to practice the way you want to.
That is very, very well said, Jason. I want to encourage everybody listening and watching to this very special episode of the Smart Chiropractor Show. Head over to thepaydaypractice.com. You can pick up a copy of the Payday Practice right now, and we will also hook you up with that workbook as well. So now is the time to take action. Paydaypractice.com. If you would like to cover your monthly expenses with monthly recurring revenue, if you'd like to decrease the amount of stress that you have each and every day, week, month, if you'd like to increase your revenue and you'd like to serve your patients at the highest level possible, we have the playbook step by step showing you exactly how to do it. Also, thank you so much for tuning in to the Smart Chiropractor Show. Each and every Tuesday, Jason and I are here talking typically marketing, business principles, clinical conversations, and more. But today's special episode, we wanted to highlight what we have been working on for the past few years, and that is the Payday Practice. So if you don't want to miss a future episode, please, if you're watching this on your social media channels, enable those notifications. If you're checking out on YouTube, subscribe to the Smart Chiropractor YouTube channel. We're putting out a bunch of great content there as well. But most of all, if we're going to ask you to take one action step today, it is head over to thepaydaypractice.com. Download the Payday Practice. You're going to get the workbook, and please mark that date. You're going to see it immediately for the webinar where we show you how in the next 30 days you can action everything you learn in the book. Start generating monthly recurring revenue. There is no reason not to do it. Your patients want and need the services. They're already getting them somewhere else. We believe you should be the one offering them in a teach and invite format, in a format that makes sense for you and your practice, and in a process that is step by step made easy for you. So on behalf of Jason and our entire team, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We cannot wait to hear your feedback about the Payday Practice. Have some fun with it. Share it with a friend. Head over to thepaydaypractice.com. And on behalf of Jason and our entire team, we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.